What is going on YouTube and Twitch? It is finally here. This is like a year in the making for us, pretty much. But welcome to the first official episode of the JustBSN Podcast with me, Zach Strubler, and my co-host, the lovely Andrew Huckaball. Welcome. We're here.
It's finally here, dude. It's been a year and some change in the making?
At least I think we first came up with this pretty much in training camp last year. So yeah, it's been a long time coming. There's been a lot of things that we've been going through. Obviously, your boy Andrew just moved recently, so he's been going through that, and I'm also trying to as well. But so yeah, it's finally here. We are live, and this is going to be so exciting. We're going to just kind of introduce ourselves, just kind of introduce what the channel is going to be, and it's going to be fun. We've been so excited to do this, and we're finally here. So I guess I'll just kind of intro myself since I'm already rambling on. But my name is Zach. I am a former Kent State graduate, journalism degree. I worked for the Morning Journal and News Herald. Currently out of the journalism field at the moment, but that is why I'm here, because I love doing this. This is stuff that I've always wanted to do, and now that we're finally here, my gosh, dude, I'm so excited to be doing this, and especially with a good buddy like Andrew, who has the same exact love for this stuff as me. So without further ado, let's go ahead and let Andrew introduce himself.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Andrew. I've been in this industry for the last 4 or 5 years. I started out working in radio for WNIR here in Akron, Ohio. So I had a lot of fun there, good time there. I played college soccer over at Indiana Tech. Never finished, left out my senior year. And then I went to Ohio Media School to kind of jumble everything together because I loved journalism. I love broadcasting, especially in sports. And I figured me going to Ohio Media School is a lot better than getting some low-level degree in journalism. So decided to make the big move, and now I'm here. I worked in radio for the last 4 to 5 years. Not anymore. Now I just work for a social media company and looking to get back into the sports world and the sports media world, which this is why I'm here. So me and Zach talked about this for, like we said, over almost a year now, and it's finally come to fruition. We're here. We're doing this, and hopefully this could be a thing we could do for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, that's always been a goal. We've always talked about that, and it's always that, let's put in the work first, and let's just have fun with it, and then see what happens. Because, when you really work hard for something and you truly love what you do, the byproduct anyway is going to be what you make it. And that's what I hope to create here. I hope we can create a lovely community that is fun and supportive. And I mean, again, that's just the most thing that we want. We just want to have fun. We love sports. We genuinely love sports with all our hearts. I've been around sports literally all my life. I played football for 12 years. I played baseball for almost 13 or 14. I mean, I played basketball as well. Obviously not as much of a basketball player or athlete, being a 5'7.5". I'm not gifted in that nature, but again, I love it, and this is what I've always wanted to do. And dude, we've been so excited to be doing this. We were originally going to get this out, I believe it was Tuesday or Wednesday, and we had some difficulties. So we're like, all right, let's push it back another day or two. Let's get everything going. And everything's good. So thank God for that. Thank God that StreamYard is having to work for us, and YouTube and Twitch seem to be doing well. So that's good. But yeah, I mean, I don't even know if I really have anything else to say in terms of an intro, besides just let's get this going and let's go have some fun. I'm ready.
No, dude, let's do this. I mean, we have so much we want to talk about. Obviously, Zach's hat signifies that we're both Browns fans and such like that. And we're going to be talking about the little bit of the Brownies, big win over the Cincinnati Bengals. And we're going to dive into some other fun stuff here for you guys because, again, this is just going to be more of like a chill episode. Obviously, this is the first one we're doing. So it's just more of like an introductory episode into who we are, what we're going to do, what this channel is. Actually, we should get to what this channel is going to be about as well.
Absolutely.
So that way we can tell everyone what we're going to be about here now and in the future. And then we'll dive into some Cleveland Browns.
Absolutely. So, I mean, of course, we have tons of, ideas that we that we eventually want to put into it. And obviously, we're going to be asking you guys, what do you guys think? Do you guys have anything that you guys would like to see from us? I mean, this is not going to be one of those podcasts where it's super analytical. We're not going to be starting to break down plays and, again, the whole name of this show is just BSN because we really are. We're just BSN. Like, we're just having fun. It's not going to be these serious hot takes. I mean, I'm sure we'll have hot takes. Don't get me wrong. It's the sports world. We're here to entertain in some capacity. That's what it is. But it's not going to be your typical podcast, and we don't want it to be. We want it to be unique to us, and we want it to be true to us too. Like, we don't want to have to fake anything that we aren't. This is who we are. And that's what we're going to expect. I mean, we're definitely going to be talking about the Browns, Cavs when that starts getting through. Avad, eventually the Guardians, which obviously this season was a bummer for us. Andrew, you went to a ton of games this year, so you got to see firsthand what was going on. I only went to one game this year, and it was the Josh Naylor weekend where he had like a 3-run home run in the 8th inning for like 4 straight days. It was one of those games. It was great. It was the most fun, Guardians game ever. And, stuff like that, like fans, live for. Like, that's the reason why we go to games. And that's the reason why we talk about sports is because we live for those moments. And that's kind of what we're going to be doing. Again, this is not going to be a incredibly analytic formal podcast. We are just going to talk and ramble, and trust me and Andrew can talk. So we're going to try to make sure that we don't dumb it down to be a 2-hour long episode every day. We want to keep it around that 45-minute to an hour range. And then if you guys want it shorter, obviously do it shorter. But we're definitely going to be thinking of certain things and elements to bring into it. Betting is, obviously legal here now, so that's been something that you and I have started to dabble into as well. So I would love to do picks and stuff like that as well, or even a guaranteed pick of the week. I almost hit on one last night. I could have won $230. I was 6 yards short of somebody being in to do it. So that's the name of the game with bets. But we have so many ideas that we're going to slowly implement. Obviously, this is the first episode, so we don't want to put everything out there, and also don't want to overdo it for ourselves. This is basically just an intro and just kind of what to expect, and just to kind of get to know us. Because again, what else is there to do besides get to know us? At this point, a ghost in this this world. So it's going to be fun. I can't wait.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a great time. And like Zach said, this channel is just us BSing around, just talking about sports. And, we're not going to be like those fake channels who, have to have like super hot takes every single time they talk, or like they have to not really be themselves. And that's not going to be us. We're just going to be our absolute selves. We're just going to talk and ramble and, BS. That's what we're going to be about. And it's going to be a lot of fun. Obviously, in the future, we're going to want to do this in person. So like me and Zach are going to be in the same room doing this. We also want to dabble into some live streaming, like actual like games. And we can do like some maybe like play-by-plays and stuff like that. So and we got so much like we want to do. Obviously, we're going to have guests come on in the future as well and talk with them. And hopefully in the future, when we actually start getting more and more popular, whatever, we can have bigger guests, maybe some former players and such like that. So that'd be awesome to do. But this channel, we definitely have a bright future plan for it, obviously. And, this is just day one. We're going to be doing this for so long. And, hopefully it ranges out to something bigger and better to where, like I said, we can have a wide range of guests. We could, have maybe like a panel of like 5 of us just
Yeah.
rambling on for a few hours, just talking, like I said, live streaming some games, or, where you guys come in the comments, we just chit chat while we're live streaming and just watching the game and stuff. So it's all going to be so fun and it's going to be entertaining, but this is the start for now. And me and Zach are going to be like this for probably a good long while,
Yeah. Yeah.
But this is what happens. This is how everyone gets their start. And this is just the beginning. Like I said, naming the episode, the beginning of something special, because this is something special and this is just the beginning.
Absolutely. I mean, dude, you couldn't have said it better for me personally. I mean, you basically took the words out of my mouth. But yeah, we are truly excited for this. This is going to be fun. So now that we've kind of gotten a little intro into the channel, let's go ahead and talk about our boys here, because
Yes, sir.
week 1, there was a lot of talking this offseason between fans. And there's still talk, unfortunately. But the Browns showed up. And as a week 1, that's the way we want to start a game. And that's the way you want to start a season. And the weather did not permit. That was a rough game for both sides.
Yes.
And that's why I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt for both teams, because Burrow is not that bad. First off, let's give the kid his respect. There's a reason he's the highest paid man in the NFL right now. He's a good quarterback. But that Browns defense, which we've been waiting, we've talked about this for years. We've been waiting for this defense to become that sort of like top 10, even top 5 defense that it's capable of being. And the additions that we've made seem to have really benefited us. Between Jim Schwartz, we obviously have not seen Thornhill, but we will soon. I am assuming, and obviously the D line, the D line's been the biggest upgrade, I guess, and it showed out last week. That defensive line, that's the best I think I've seen a Browns D defense in a long, long time.
No, and I completely agree. I mean, you saw Myles Garrett dribbling a pretend basketball through his legs, going up to the line of scrimmage and just absolutely beating the center to Joe Burrow, and which led to a quote unquote getting the sack in that moment.
Playing with his food, basically, just playing with his food.
and you know what? This is the defense we've been waiting for, because we thought we were going to get this with Joe Woods, because Joe Woods obviously had that amazing defense with the Rams for a few years, and they had the top 2 defense like every year he was there. And it's like, oh, cool, we're excited. We got Joe Woods as our D coordinator. He's going to come in here. He's going to ball out with this defense. You got Myles Garrett. You got Jadeveon Clowney. You got these guys that are going to do what. And he just played prevent defense the entire time. Very low pressure.
That soft zone defense that you and I hated. And by the way, he was San Fran. You said Rams, but San Fran.
Oh yeah, San Fran.
Yeah.
I believe he was at the Rams for a year too.
I mean, he might have been. I don't know.
I think he was there.
I would have to look.
Yeah, he was San Fran for a while.
But he was the DB's coach there for a while, and obviously they went. They went to the Super Bowl that year, or in one of those years that he was there. But yeah, it was a lot of prevent defense, which didn't make sense considering you have 3 legitimate corners that can all play man and play man very, very well, because they did play well last week too, and we have to give them that credit too. Those corners were ready to show up, and I mean, dude, the sky's the limit for this team if they can really just stay consistent. And I think that's really the final piece, I guess, to this is just consistency on both ends. How is this going to mesh? I don't know. But so far, Jim Schwartz seems to have a really good game plan for us. And I'm excited to see what else he draws up, especially for this week, because Pittsburgh struggled against San Fran last week. So I'm curious to see what he has in his hat this week.
Well, I guarantee there's going to be a lot of pressures going on, because, I mean, we all know that the Pittsburgh O-line is not the greatest in the league. They're very, very much a poor offensive line. And you saw what Jim Schwartz did with, Myles Garrett and Zadarius. He moved them all over the line. So it wasn't like Joe Woods where you had Myles Garrett just on one side, on one end, and that was it. No, you saw Myles line up with the center. You saw Myles line up on the edges. You saw Myles how sometimes I looked like he was lining up as a linebacker. And you see he's moving the defensive pieces everywhere. I mean, we saw Anthony Walker line up as an edge. We saw, JOK line up as an edge. We saw a lot of those guys come up to the line of scrimmage. And like you said, the man defense for our corners was spectacular, because we have our DBs are man coverage types of DBs, and they lock on tight. And you saw T. Higgins, 8 targets, no receptions. 5 catches for Jamar Chase, only maybe like 30 yards total in that entire game. So these DBs are locked down deep in DBs, and even McLeod was insanely good as well, and so was Grant Delpit. And like you said, Juwan Thornhill is added to that, and he, from what I've heard, he wanted to play week 1. He was actually fighting to play week 1.
Yeah, he was trying.
So he's actually most likely going to play this week against Pittsburgh. So you might see Juwan Thornhill play this week on Monday. And I don't know what to say, but if the Steelers offense performed like that, like they did against the Niners, it's going to be a very long day for the Pittsburgh Steelers, because now you have Deontay Johnson, who's out for multiple weeks with a hamstring injury. And then on the defensive side, Cam Hayward is out. So
that's a big loss, man, because Cam Hayward has been a beast for them for many, many years. I mean, he's a former Ohio State guy. He's been a beast for over a decade. Yes. So yeah, I mean, that is a big loss. The only thing that the Steelers have to their advantage is we've over the last few years, pretty much since the playoff win, we've really struggled in Pittsburgh. And so I'm looking for the Browns to get over that little, I don't even want to call it stage fright, but again, it just seems like they do struggle. It's the same thing with, the Bengals playing us at home. It just seems like they always struggle, against us at home. So the Browns need to turn that edge. And again, it's going to come back to, the defense playing well again. And then Deshaun Watson, he does have to play better. The weather was bad last week, so I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yes.
But he is going to be another key. And then just continuing to run the football and not letting Pittsburgh run the ball on us, because also the last few games, Harris will have his like best game of the year against us. So it's important to lock him down. And listen, the defense, even against the run against Joe Mixon, I mean, he couldn't get nowhere last week, and we didn't have that last year. Defense knew that they could gash the middle of our D-line at will and get a minimum of 6 to 7 yards.
I believe we were ranked like 31st in run defense or something, like 31st in run defense.
Yeah, we were at the bottom, and there was a reason for it. It's because unfortunately we had quite a lot of inexperience in there, and in turn, I mean, it didn't help our linebackers, because those D linemen are not eating linemen to free up our linebackers, and that also plays a role as well. But again, it's weird, man. This whole defense, it just carries this swagger and confidence that I have been waiting, and for some way, Jim Schwartz has been the one to unlock it. Whatever he's doing, I just hope he keeps it. But there's really good things to see after week 1, and the sky is the limit. And again, they just have to be consistent and ready to go every week. And I believe with the leadership we have, I definitely feel like we can.
Yeah, no, and I agree. I think we could definitely take on the Steelers this week and actually beat them at home, because from what I heard earlier today, if the Browns beat the Steelers, this is the first time we beat the Steelers in a regular season in Pittsburgh since Tim Couch did it in 2003. So it's been that long since we won a regular season game in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a long time. And also, I think I want to say they're like 20-0 in Monday night games as well.
Yeah, they're 20-0 Monday night games too. Yeah. And this could be the change of everything. Plus, if you're the Steelers, you do not want to start 0-2, because, again, another stat that I've heard, 11% of teams who start 0-2 don't make the playoffs. Make the playoffs. So about 80% of the teams that start 0-2 don't make it to the postseason. So if you start 0-2, you got to question, is this Steelers team under Mike Tomlin going to be good? And is this Mike Tomlin's first year under a 500-year performance?
Yeah.
Because there is no such thing as an 8-8 anymore. You're either 9-7 or 7-9. There is no more 8-8 with the uneven amount of games. So you can't go 500.
I do like too. I mean, I like that. I think that gives some sort of perspective, because again, like teams, especially, I don't know if you recall that old Giants team, the Eli, Manning team that beat the Pats in the playoffs, in the Super Bowl, and they were like 8-8. I
Yeah,
think
they were like 8, 9-7.
it's weird. It's just super weird how teams can get that way. And I mean, also adding another wild card team, I think brings that other element to the playoffs, and it creates so many fun matchups. And I mean, the AFC North is stacked. It really
100%.
is, especially if the Browns are good. Because if the Browns are good, that carries an element beyond the usual Bengals in Baltimore, and then when the Steelers are good. But the Steelers have not been great pretty much since we beat them in the playoffs back in 2020, which I'm not going to take credit on that. Obviously, like it is what it is. I mean, they lost Big Ben. I mean that is a a
huge
generational
loss.
player that they've lost, and over the course of time, more and more guys are going to lose. I mean, you have Pouncey as well. He was a staple in that offense for many years on that line. When those changes happen, of course your team is going to go through. But Mike Tomlin is a very good coach, and he's going to have them prepared. So
and you also lost Joe Hayden on that team too. Joe Hayden was a staple for that defense as well. I mean, he was a staple for our defense too for a long while before he went to Pittsburgh and became their staple DB. But I mean, we talk about also too another staple, Cam Hayward, who's now out for multiple weeks. I mean, he's the reason why TJ Watt is TJ Watt. Yeah. I mean, he frees him up so much for Watt to get to the quarterback and such. And with him out, TJ Watt may have a rough time getting to Deshaun Watson. Now, I won't say he will because he's going up against rookie DeJuan Jones,
and it's still
it's still
Watt. Like he's great.
He's still going to get to the quarterback.
He had 3 sacks last week. Still,
yeah, he still had 3 sacks.
Losing. He's going to get one, and
he's going to get 1 or 2 for sure. He's going to get 1 or 2, and that's I can guarantee that he will. That's one of those best you can put money on and still win every single time. He's just that good, but I think Cam Hayward also helps him a lot in that regard to get to the quarterback. And like I said, he'll still get to the quarterback for sure, but it might be even more of a struggle because now you get to free up one of the other O-linemen to help DeJuan Jones kind of cover TJ and kind of focus on double teaming up a little bit. So that way you have Deshaun Watson more freedom in the pocket, or at least a chance to escape if one of them breaks free. So it's more about now trying to contain him for the offensive line because now you're like, okay, cool, Cam Hayward's out. We can breathe. The rest of the D-line is not that great. It's just Cam Hayward and TJ Watt, really. And maybe Alex Highsmith, too. You can put Alex Highsmith in there, too. He's really good.
He is good. And, one weakish spot is, Jed Wills. He is a wild card.
And I'm sure Highsmith will line up with Jed Wills, too. I'm sure.
And he will. And he will. And I know last year he's had his numbers. So, I mean, Jed has to step up and he has to play well. He is such a wild card at times because there are games where he is lights out. He's big Jed. He's a beast. But he just has these weird games where he struggles. And, he has also had a ton of random like ankle and foot, stuff that, that has gone on with him over the past few years. And as a lineman, that sucks. I mean, that's taking part of your lower body, which is your backbone, and keeping those blocks and sustaining them. That does hurt. So it's going to be interesting. And, also DeJuan Jones. I mean, he is a gigantic human being, but he's still a rookie. So Watt is going to do what he has to do to try to get into his head. And it's just important for Thanos to just be who he is and use his wingspan because the dude has the largest wingspan in the entire NFL. I'm pretty sure. He's a big boy. He can move around. So it's going to be a fun matchup. It's going to be fun. And at least with Watson, he does have that ability to scramble out and be able to make plays with his feet, which helped us last week. I mean, that's the reason we won last week, if I'm going to be honest. So that is a element that we have not really had that is in our favor. So just got to keep people healthy. That's really the big thing for us there.
Yeah, and I think the big key for this game too is can Deshaun Watson be better in the passing game? Now, I understand, like, yes, this past weekend, both quarterbacks were terrible when it came to the rain and to the weather and stuff like that. Obviously, given benefit of the doubt for both quarterbacks there.
Yeah.
But from what I've been looking, the weather's supposed to be pretty nice in Pittsburgh on Monday. So you're going to have a fair weather game. You shouldn't have trouble holding onto the ball or gripping the ball now. From what we've heard, Deshaun came on his press conference and said he was gripping the ball too tightly because he was trying to get a grip on the ball. And obviously, with the ball being heavy due to the wet conditions and stuff like that, the ball's going to drop a lot sooner than stay in the air. So, I mean, now you have a chance to freely throw the ball. You have Marquise Goodwin, who you missed a couple times, who you probably don't want to miss anymore because he was open both times. Those could have been big scores for the Cleveland Browns in the game against Cincinnati. Obviously, Elijah Moore has showed out in his first game as a Brown with that reverse jet sweep that he had, which was insane.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, this offense, if all clicks, could be very scary in the AFC North.
Oh yeah, I mean, you forgot the one insane piece, which is obviously Nicholas Jamal Chubb.
Yeah.
I mean, you obviously can't forget him. He
never.
is the backbone to this offense. He always will be. It's nice that him and Jerome Ford pretty much got a split set last week. Even with Jerome having the fumble early on, Stefanski still said, hey, keep running the ball. And he had at least one or two good runs. Towards the end of the game, Jerome didn't really get to have good runs because I'm pretty sure they were just stacking the box because they knew. Because they were down 23 or 24-3. So, I mean, obviously that's going to happen. And so his yards per carry were lower towards the end of the game. But Ford had a few good, nice little spurts. And obviously Chubb did too. And as the weather conditions are better, those deep shots are going to be there as long as you do establish the run game, which is going to be important. And, yeah, Watson just has to hit them, which I think he can, and he will eventually. And who knows if it's going to be on Monday night, then it's going to be the right stage to do it because everybody's going to be watching. So it's going to be a time for him to prove it because that's been the talk all offseason is will Watson be the old Watson? And Watson has even said, I don't want to be the old Watson. I want to be a better version of that Watson. So let's see what he's got. This is going to be the game to do it. Let's go on prime time and let's beat a good team and let's beat them without mercy because I don't know about you, but I'm getting really tired of these Steelers fans talking as much as they have really all off season. Mm-hmm. I've had multiple in my Twitter mentions constantly giving me crap, and it's fun to banter. Listen, that's fandom, and there's no reason to get too uptight or too low, but it is fun to finally get to shut people up. And then if you take the L, you take the L on on the chin because it is what it is. You can't control it anyway. But I hope that the Browns just come in with that same exact mentality, that same confidence that we brought into week one, and let's carry it on. Because if we can show up like that every single weekend, man, I don't know many actual offensive lines that are going to stop this defensive line for real. It's so scary to think about having Darius, Miles, and then Ogbo on the other side coming at you with an A-Walk or a Jock or Taki or whoever you want to bring down in the box to bring 5 every time. That's scary. That is when I saw that, I was like, I mean, what do offenses do besides say, good luck?
And don't forget on that defensive line too. You could add a fourth in there, and you have Shelby Harris, who's also a stud in there.
And Tomlinson too.
And Tomlinson. So I mean, you just have guys who can just straight go after the quarterback. And if one guy is like, "Oh, yeah, I need a break," and that other guy is going to be right there, and he's like, "Well, I'm just as good, so I'm just going to get to the quarterback as well."
Yeah. So I mean, it's going to be nice having the depth that we have now, and just letting Jim Schwartz literally just play around with lineups and see what works.
I think this defense is going to remind everyone of the Legion of Boom in Seattle. It's just kind of like that free-flowing defense where everyone just can do whatever they want, and everyone's changing positions and everyone's just free-flowing and sacks everywhere, picks everywhere, and it's just like it's going to be almost like a Legion of Boom type of situation where just everyone's just free-flowing, having a good time, and just doing their jobs, and it's going to be fun for us to watch because it's like, finally we can compete.
Exactly. And I mean, Jim Schwartz is letting our good players play to their strengths. You know,
Yeah,
they're letting our pass rushers be pass rushers. They're letting our corners man up and do what they do best. And dude, Grant Delpit played the best game that he's played by far as a Cleveland Brown
yeah,
last
100%.
week. He was as lights out, and he's gonna have a payday here soon because he is getting near the end of his deal, I think. So he's playing for something as well.
Yeah,
And I mean, dude, when you have that, you have obviously McLeod, who is a solid veteran. He was in that Eagles defense for the last few years, and then you obviously have Thornhill, and Thornhill's a good guy to have not only on that back end, but also in the locker room. The locker room finally has leadership, and that was a topic last year. Was
mm-hmm.
where is the leadership? Well, it's here, and it sounds like this is almost the healthiest that this entire locker room has been. And I mean, I can't even tell you because it's always been so down for us. We're so used to
Yeah,
that, and it's just changing, and that's what I love.
yeah. And speaking of Grant Delpit too, he was the highest grade PFF player on the team after the Bengals game with like a 90, like I think it was like a 92.4 or something. He was like the
Yeah.
highest graded, and then obviously yeah, Zadarius Smith and Myles Garrett with the same at like 90.5 apiece. So I mean, great when Grant Delpit is your highest PFF graded defensive player, you know something's going right because I think Jim Schwartz is the reason why he played so well. Because if you looked at Joe Woods, he hindered Grant Delpit so much, didn't allow Grant Delpit to do what he does best. Put him, like he did with John Johnson and everyone else you had, and like Harrison and stuff back in the day. He puts him like 50 yards way past everybody and just says, "Oh, you just camp out back there. Nothing's gonna happen to you. Just camp out back there." And it's like, but that's not when they're good. They're good when they could, streak down the middle and attack the quarterback like Jabril Peppers used to do, or they're good at stuff like that. They're good at helping DBs man up somewhere, and they're not good when you just leave them 60 yards behind everybody else and be like, okay, they're just gonna read a book, stand back there, wait for maybe a deep ball, leave the middle wide open. That's not what they're capable of. They're capable of so much more, and
Exactly.
I think Jim Schwartz has unlocked so much out of everybody, including Myles Garrett, and this is probably going to be I would say Myles Garrett's best season in his career. I think, and everyone's saying, even ESPN, everywhere else, I think everyone is saying could be the year where Myles Garrett breaks 20 sacks a season.
Yeah. I mean, dude. The dude's one of the most talented DNs in the league.
Yeah,
And that's no knock to all of the other great guys, but Miles is Miles because of who he is, how bendy he is, how shifty and fast he is. He has that element to his game that there's not a lot of people that can recreate that. And Jim Schwartz is finding. I mean, again, when you are having that guy line up over a center, and you are letting him fake dribble around, messing around on the field while you're beating a team because he's having fun, dude. Jim Schwartz is letting this team have fun, and they are sound with their communication, which was something that was so bad the last few years of Jim Schwartz. I don't know why. I don't know if the guys kind of gave up on him. I don't know, but whatever Jim Schwartz is doing, keep it up because, dude, you have got this defense locked up and locked in. As Alex Hale would say, we are locked in. And, dude, the sky is the limit. They just have to be consistent. And that's the main thing that we are going to be preaching for the next few weeks is can they remain consistent? Because there's going to be bumps. There's going to be losses. That's how the season goes. Leadership is going to have to play a huge role in that, coaching and in everything. And if they can just remain consistent in their attitudes and their everyday work, they will be fine and they will be a playoff team because they are as talented of a team as anyone else in the league. And they can match up with pretty much anybody in the league as long as they just go in and show out and play the way they did. Straight up.
And this could easily be a Browns team that hits 11, maybe 12 wins, or if everything goes well and according to plan, And I think what's going to help us get to that point is not just the defense, but I think it's the defense helping the offense. And I think this now allows, with this Jim Schwartz defense, it allows Kevin Stefanski to breathe as a head coach and a guy who's calling the plays on offense, because it's like, okay, now I can do what I do best and make sure this offense is also free flowing and can do what it does best. And Nick Chubb can run for 106 yards every game, and Deshaun looks just like old Deshaun Watson. And the thing is, too, we don't need Deshaun to throw 300 passing yards a game like he did in Houston. We just need him to just be whatever he was, before he left. He doesn't have to sit there and throw 350 yards. As long as he throws for 250 at least plus, this offense is going to cruise to a lot of points. The recent addition of Dustin Hopkins, I can't believe I'm saying this, but that's going to help tremendously, because obviously he hit every single field goal and extra point he had. I do feel bad for Cade York, because obviously he was a young kid we drafted, but he had a chance to stand the practice squad, chose to go to Tennessee, which I hope he does well there. Nothing bad for the kid. I mean, right. I want him to succeed, but now you bring in a vet and Dustin Hopkins, and obviously he's made every single kick here, especially in terrible weather. It's bad weather in Cleveland, Ohio, and Phil Dawson and everyone else said it best. If you're going to kick, you got to learn to kick in a place like Cleveland, where you have high winds and terrible weather. So if you can't kick there, I don't know how good of a kicker you're going to be.
Yeah, exactly. So
because the only kicker I know who can do that is Justin Tucker.
Yeah, I mean, straight up. I mean, obviously, Tucker is the GOAT. So
100%.
He is, and there's no denying it. And dude, I felt bad. I felt so bad for Cade York. I mean, the kid's 22, young kid. He'll find his team eventually, and I hope he does well. It sucks because he started last year so well with that Carolina game, coming through at the end. Mm-hmm. He played well the last few weeks, or that first few weeks, and then just seemed like there was just one game that just got his head wrong, and it just continued to spiral down, and he just slowly couldn't get out of it. And even with the rough off season, he couldn't get through it, and it sucks, man. It is one of those businesses that just it's an unforgiving business, and it's the unfortunate side of it.
Yeah, and it reminds me so much of 2018 when we drafted Baker and we had Zane Gonzalez as our kicker. I remember the first few weeks we played the Steelers and the Saints, and Zane Gonzalez missed field goals. And it's like, well, if you made those, you beat the Steelers, you beat the Saints. You start off the season, 4-0 that year? Mm-hmm. Because you also beat the Jets, and then I think you went on and won the next week too. And it's like, you would have started the season 4-0. You would have been a postseason team because you finished 7-8-1. Take away that tie and a couple of those losses, you had a 10-11 win team at that point. You would have won 11 games.
Absolutely. I mean, we had so many games that we should have won last year. Obviously, the Jets game is the one that probably hurts the most. The Atlanta game we should have won. The Chargers game we should have won. The Saints game we should have won. I mean, that's 4 games right there. That is the difference between a 7-win team and an 11-win team.
And it's like last year, like you said, it's like last season. You could have beaten Atlanta, you could have beaten all these teams, and it's like you're just a field goal away. And if you didn't miss, that's 11 wins. 11. That's a playoff team.
Yes, you're getting into the playoffs because the Ravens struggled. The Bengals are really the only team in the AFC North that really played well that year or last year. So yeah, it hurt, but it was one of those years that needed to happen because Joe Woods needed to be fired. That was a plain and simple fact. And then we had to move on from the old special teams corner. I forget his name already, but it just seemed like there just needed to be a change there. And the offseason went great. The draft went great. Even not having a first round pick this year, obviously with the the Deshaun trade, you still made out with a really good draft. You had a great free agency. You did all of the good things in the offseason. And we've done that the last few years, but it hasn't clicked on the field. So this is the year to do it. You still have cleared up a ton of cap space somehow. I don't know how AB has done that, but the dude is a wizard because we have $40 million in cap space right now still, which is unheard of, or not unheard of because there's teams doing it too. But it's just crazy to think about. And it just proves that the cap is a myth. The cap is a myth. It's interesting.
It's all those contract restructures that he's been doing.
It
The
is.
only the only contract he hasn't restructured, I think, is Nick Chubb's. I think that's the only contract he hasn't restructured yet.
Well, and that's probably because he's going to get extended. I personally believe he's going to get extended, along with guys like like Delpit. Like you have to keep guys in your room that are like that, because Grant Delpit is a great player. And he is.
And I think they're doing that because Nick Chubb is about to get paid.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the main reason why. I think Nick Chubb's about to get his big payday, and he beyond deserves the payday too. It's like what we said when Miles got paid, and all the other guys got paid. Like Batonio and stuff. Like these guys deserve to get paid because they're the best in the business. Nick Chubb is going to probably be the best running back in the league this year. He was number 2 for the last couple. This is his year. He's number 1 on the chart, and he is going to get that cash splashing in.
Yeah. So I mean, it's going to be a fun year. We're really excited to see how this team progresses. I'm really excited to see some of these these my matchups, especially early on, because we have 3 of our divisional games in the first 4 weeks, and then you have a bye, and then you have San Fran in week 5. That's going to be a tough game too. And then after that, the schedule does get a little bit easier, but it's a very interesting start to the season, and I'm really excited now to see how the Browns can go through with that. Can you go into that bye week at a 3-1 or even a 4-0 record? As long as you're not going 1-3, you're doing so often right, and you have some momentum going into that bye to fix stuff and go into San Fran. Or actually, I'm pretty sure the San Fran game is actually in Cleveland, which definitely
it is in Cleveland, yes, because I have a few friends who are San Fran fans coming to Cleveland to come watch the game. So
so it's going to be to our favor, thank God. But still, San Fran is a good team. They looked good last week, as they should. They have an outstanding defense. Brandon Ayuk looked amazing. So that's going to be a fun matchup too.
That's going to be that's going to be your real test, is playing a team like San Fran. That's going to be like, this is where we are as a unit. Is we are here. Can we compete with a Super Bowl contending team? And, like you said, the first at least few weeks now, because next week you have Tennessee, then you get Baltimore, then you get the bye, then you get San Fran. Like you said, at the bye week, you have the potential to go 4-0 at the bye week, because Baltimore is now injured up again for like the 15th year in a row. That you makes you almost feel bad for them, because they always accrue so many injuries every year. J.K. Dobbins out for the season again. Yeah. They lost a couple of linemen, D linemen. So they're losing everyone. Lamar did not look fantastic either against Houston.
Yeah.
So you're wondering if there's something there too. If he can't look good against probably the worst team in the league, is he going to look good at all this season? So you have the opportunity to start off a season 4-0. And if you start off season 4-0, you're almost guaranteed a playoff team at that point, because there's no way you can, like, maybe the bye week might get you before you play San Fran, because it's like, okay, we stop early and have a break, and it's like, okay, now we got to go play San Fran. But it also helps your momentum, because now the bye week's gone and you have nothing but football for the next 13 weeks or 12 weeks, and it's like, all right, cool, it's nothing but football at this point. And, you have no chance but to just get hot during that time and just go on a big, like, streak of wins or something and just go crazy.
And it's going to be the way to go for sure. So, I mean, it is a major opportunity, and I just hope the Browns can capitalize. Again, it comes down to leadership, and it comes down to that preparation. And it's if they can come into that, doing that well, man, sky really is the limit. I've said it. I probably said that 6 times this podcast, but it really is, and it's exciting as a Browns fan. We've been so used to this team being mediocre, average, or even below average, or very below average. Obviously, we've had the oblivious 0-16, season back in 2017, I think that was. So it wasn't too far ago that we were a awful, like, laughing stock of a franchise. And we don't need to be that way. And it all starts with the players, and it all starts with the foundation that you've built. And they've done a good job over the years of building a much better foundation overall. So this is the year to really prove it and really take that step forward. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I wonder what the national media is going to do when the Browns are not the laughing stock of the league anymore. I think they're all just going to melt and freak out. And
yeah, their heads are going to explode. I mean, it really is, because there was people this year even that thought that we were going to have no more than 6 or 7 wins again. And
well, let's take a look at after the Bengals game. Everyone's like, "Oh, well, we're going to give as much, respect for Joe Burrow. The game was rainy. We have to give Joe Burrow the benefit of the doubt, but Deshaun Watson should have played a lot better. Deshaun, he's got to prove himself more. And it's like, absolutely. wait a minute. They played in the same weather. Deshaun had more passing yards, scored a touchdown, threw for a touchdown. It's like, you have to give the benefit of the doubt to both quarterbacks, but Deshaun also played better than Joe Burrow. And so it's like, oh, well, we can only give the benefit of the doubt to Joe Burrow. We can't give it to Deshaun. Deshaun's got to be somewhere. And it's like, that's where the national media hit. It's like, I see what you're doing. You still want the Browns to be a terrible organization, because if the Browns are good, what are you going to talk about now? You have nothing to talk about. But do we talk about the Houston Texans now?
Right. But see, like, that's the weird thing, because like even back in 2020 when we were good, like we turned into like, America's team, it was this like running joke, but it really was like everybody loved us because we were the underdog, and we did things that nobody thought that we were going to do that year.
I think if we do it again this year, it'd be the same way if we do it again this year.
Absolutely. Like, just be either a likable team or the most hated team, but still have a cool fan base. The fan base still has to be cool.
I don't think anyone hates us. I think they just like to make fun of us as like a banner type of thing. I think secretly everyone loves us because they actually secretly want us to do so well.
Absolutely. Everybody wants to do well.
It's like, well, we want the Browns to actually do something, and do well. We don't want them to be bad forever,
Right.
I mean, imagine if we win the Super Bowl. I think the entire U.S. would burn to the ground if the Browns won a Super Bowl. There'd be nothing in existence.
Cleveland would. I know Cleveland would.
Yeah,
because if you thought that Cavs parade was crazy, which I mean, we both. You went. I
went. Yeah.
So I did too, and it was what 1.2 or 1.3 million people there.
It'd be about 5 million people in that city.
Yeah, even in January, or even February, whatever it is, people would show up. Because
100%. It's the Browns.
We've been waiting since the 60s was the last time we've won anything, and it wasn't even the Super Bowl. Yeah, and it wasn't even a Super Bowl. It was just an NFL championship.
It was a Super Bowl the next year after.
Yeah, which is so funny to me. But like Jim, Paul Brown was literally like the founder of both the Browns and the Bengals, which I think is hilarious because the Browns came before the Bengals. Come on now, guys, respect us in that way. Please.
We're not copying the white jerseys. We had them for years.
We are not, and I do have the white jersey. I'm not going to go over there and get it.
Well, we had them since we had them since like the 50s and the 40s, and they're like, oh, they're copying. I was like, go back to the history, man. 40s, 50s, 60s. The Browns were white.
Right. Just let history be what it is. Quit complaining. Let's just let our teams play football. Like, it's not. It doesn't have to be that crazy. We are both passionate about the Browns and just about our sports in general. But I'm not gonna go out of my way to like verbally assault some people like some of these fans have. And that's the sad part about this. Like, some people just get too into it.
For sure.
I hope that doesn't happen for this week because Pittsburgh fans and Browns fans can be very, 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 very crazy.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Should we get into predictions for Monday before we close this out?
Absolutely. Obviously, I think the Browns are going to win. I don't think it's going to be quite of a landslide as it was last week. I think last week was a interesting game and it happens, but I still think the Browns can win by a 10-point margin. So I'm saying Browns. I'll say Browns 34, Pittsburgh 21. I'll give them 21, but honestly, like, that's me being nice because, again, Najee Harris always plays well against us and pisses me off, but I don't think that Pickett is going to have a lot of time to make a lot of throws. And if we can do anything that San Fran did last week, it is going to be bloodbath. But I'm just going to give them the benefit because, again, it's in Pittsburgh. We've had bad luck there. So you still have to let that play into a factor. But the Browns are going to put up more points this week for sure. Like, the deep ball is going to be there. It's going to happen. So.
Yeah, no, it's funny because our predictions are going to be very, very similar because I said 33-21.
Dude, why are we like this? See, this is why we are doing this. Like, this is why we are in this podcast because we're on the same level playing field here of thinking. I love it.
I did this thing where you could pick like the winners of the games and like the score, and I put the Browns 33-21 on the thing, and I was like, that sounds like a good prediction right there.
But here's the thing too. I also won't be surprised if Pittsburgh can score like 13 on us, and then it's like that's it. Because again, the defense can continue to be relentless because it was relentless last week. So if you can,
Bengals only scored 3.
Yeah. And so, we'll see. I mean, but all I know is I truly believe Watson is going to play much better this week. I think he's hungry too. And I am definitely going to predict, and this is like my solid bet of the week, is Njoku will 100% score a touchdown this week. He plays so well in every divisional game besides the last week because of the weather. But I swear to God, the dude scores every time we play Pittsburgh, every time we play the Bengals and the Ravens. He's my guaranteed bet of the week, honestly.
Is he? I would say my guaranteed bet of the week is Nick Chubb finds the end zone.
Oh, yeah. I mean, dude, you're just playing the easy one there.
Yeah,
that's that's the easiest one. I missed too much. Yeah.
I've missed too much. I need an easy one.
I mean, dude, after last night, I am in shambles. Like being 6 yards away from winning $230. Yeah, I could. I really should just take whatever I could get.
I did the 50% profit boost last night, and I put on I did like 4 anytime scores because I was like, let's be risky. I'll put like $3 or whatever, and it turned into like $160 or something. Yeah. It was like something like that, and I was like, okay, let's do anytime scores. So I had like AJ Brown anytime, Devontae Smith anytime. I had Hawkinson and who was the and Justin Jefferson as anytime.
Okay.
And so Hawkinson and Devontae Smith got the scores, and I thought Jefferson did too, but he fumbled out of the end zone. So
so my bet that I did last night that I may have missed on. So I had Jay Jetta going for over 100 yards. That was a guarantee. I had Devonta Smith as an anytime touchdown. I had Addison as an anytime score. He scored
on my fantasy team. He's so good on my fantasy team.
Yeah, and I had KJ Osborne going for 40 yards, and he had 34. So that's where I messed.
Should have put him as an anytime scorer. He would have.
I know I should have, or honestly, I should have put T Hawk as like a anytime scorer, or even a 2 score because he had 2 last night. But it's shoulda, woulda, coulda. That's how bets work, and you just gotta bet responsibly. Don't be an idiot and bet like $100 on something that you're not gonna win. Like I will put on like $50 at a time, and it's usually like every other week, and I only put like the $5 to $10 bets. Like I usually will not bet more than like $20 at a time.
I don't bet more than $10 on one.
Right. Bet. It's just a low. It's that low risk potential, high reward. So you're not losing a lot of money. It's just like getting Chipotle for me. Like that's how I see it. So it's either way.
But I think we're ready to close this thing out, man. First episode done and dusted. We're cruising along now. We got the first out of the way.
Yeah, absolutely. The only thing that we need to sort of figure out is we were supposed to go live, and apparently it didn't go live on Twitch or YouTube, so I don't know what happened, but we will get it figured out with Streamlat or Yard, because this is the first time that I've gotten to use it with him. Well, actually, second time. We did a podcast last year. It was actually right before the Jets game, actually, now that I think about it, because we all predicted that we were going to kill the Jets, and then we lost to them with a minute and 30 left. So we're still learning. Obviously, this is the first pod, but a lot more to come. We're gonna have a pretty consistent, one episode a week at least right now, and then if it continues to grow, we will obviously put more out, and we definitely have a lot more ideas, as we said before. So we are really excited. I am really excited. Thank you so much, Andrew. It was a pleasure.
Oh, of course.
Let's go have some fun with this now. We got one, in the bag. Let's keep going.
Let's do it, man.
All right, guys. Well, without further ado, I am going to go ahead and log ourselves out. But it was a pleasure. Thank you guys for joining us. If any of us want to subscribe to the YouTube, JustBSN Podcast, that is the name. We are here and we are ready to take over the space. All right, we are ready to have some fun here.
And follow all of our socials too, Twitter, whatever we got, Twitter, Instagram, follow, subscribe
Twitch as
on
well.
YouTube.
Yeah,
Twitch as well.
yeah,
Don't
Twitch,
forget to sub on Twitch.
Well.
We would love to see you guys start commenting in here too. So we have some more things we can talk about with you guys as well. So hopefully once we get more people, you guys can start sending some comments in and we'll put them up on the screen here and we can all enjoy this.
It'll
together.
Be a part of the show. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, it'll definitely be a part of the show. Like especially towards the end, I think that'll be a fun thing to do. So yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching and we'll see you in the next one.